So it is 9:32. I think we'll get started now, and we'll have people kind of chime in as they do. Thanks for taking the time out to join us on our June edition of Wednesday webinar. My name is Bonnie. I'm from Encaptis at the head office here in Burnaby, located in Vancouver. I am excited for this month's webinar. We are featuring the booking wizard from coresystems, and it's an additional feature that they have just come out with that is attached to the country package. Today we have Philip, and I'm going to try not to mess up your last name here, Philip, but it's Philip Evenegger. And he is the head of services and part of the executive board and is located in the head office for coresystems. So, Phil, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to demonstrate this exciting feature that we at Encaptis are very excited about. I will turn this over to you.
Okay, thank you. The first question is if everyone is able to hear me.
Yeah, I think we're good there.
Good, and now second will be if you're able to see me.
Yep.
Good. Okay, so then let me quickly introduce myself. Thank you for your little introduction, Bonnie. Actually, welcome everybody to this webinar about the coresystems booking visit. Just for the people and customers on your side that do not know coresystems, I have a little introduction here about our company before we really deeply dive into this extra feature, and hopefully as the newsletter promised to make all the content excited to see how we can easily expand the capabilities of SAP Business One in terms of financial accountings. Good. I will continue. Just some facts and figures about coresystems. Here really just a brief idea about our company. You know maybe already that we've been founded in 2006, so it's our 7th year as a corporation. We've been existing earlier, but the official foundation, as you see, is 2006, and we are SSP Gold Partner. So SSP Gold Partner of SAP means that simply we are the ones that are providing the customers and the partners with add-ons, like we're going to introduce now the coresuite booking visit, and we really do that with a lot of passion. And you see, we want to be the Business One or the one business app vendor, and hopefully you're already using some of our features or are about to become new customers for us and for Encaptis. Here's some locational issues. You probably can tell from my accent. I'm located in the headquarters in Switzerland, which is the main bullet here in the middle of Europe. But obviously, as you also know, we have offices around the world, including in the United States, Brazil, China, and some other locations within Europe. Most of those offices you probably will not have contact to, but for you, Encaptis will be the contact person or the contact partner to deal with us and us. Here the message is, when we do a product, and this is what I really want to focus here, we always do it worldwide. So meaning it will work with all the B1 localization, and obviously it also will work with all the languages, including English. Good. Now, last 2 slides about us. Here's been the user numbers, so you can imagine how many users are using tools from coresystems. We actually experienced quite a big growth. At the moment, you see the figures are up until 2011. Last year is already at 75,000 users. So giving you that figures, it's not about boasting, it's about the security for you as an end customer, that the tool is so widely spread and so heavily tested that it really works perfectly within the SAP. If any of those users would have issues, or a lot of issues, we would not even be able to answer the calls. Good. Now, Also very important, and here the key message comes, we are not alone. We work together with our partners, and Encaptis, who is the host of this webinar today, is one of our main partners, and I actually guess in Canada it is our main partner. So stick on Encaptis and stay tuned to be informed about the newest innovations from coresystems and from Encaptis. Good, I think enough for the theory about us. Now let's really dive into today's WebEx focus. And today's focus is the booking visit. So let me just simply switch to the correct slide set before we, here we go, before we see the real data in SAP Business One. Also here I will introduce the product quickly with a couple of slides for the purpose of having you or having it recorded if you want to see it later stage as well, but also then to give you the examples up front before we then really do it within SAP Business One. Good. Now the three main issues is here just the basic idea, and then it's going to be what I call a daily life or a daily business example. So we're going to do a revenue or a cost splitting, which is something that the booking business is providing up front, and we're going to do an expense distribution, which is something that comes together with the block from our side. It comes on top. Why do I say something like what is coming along the tool and what is coming on top? Here I really talk about the tool. The booking visit is not, I would say, it's not a tool which is limited to a specific functionality. It is a tool that gives you an infinite number of possibilities in journal entry processing. So those two examples then really have the name of example. Good. How does it work? Well, it's fairly easy. As you know, the booking visit is a query-based booking engine, meaning if you're able to do queries yourself, or if you want, you can actually outsource it to your partner. Anything which is resulting as a query can be posted as a journal entry. Meaning, if we, for example, then have costs that are going to be distributed to specific cost centers, or if we have revenues that maybe have to be relocated, or maybe we have some tax issues, we have to deduct it on the one side or on the others. As long as you can actually make it in a query, you get it as a function in the booking visit. Good. Now you see also the goal. Again, it is an instrument of automation. So just think about your daily life, which postings really are occurring regularly. Just think about month-end closings or year-end closing, and think about how to automate it. If you have something in your mind that you have on a regular basis, which is maybe complex, then the booking visit is your tools. Most common, and these are also two examples today, is accruals and deferrals. I'm sure you're going to have that possibilities or that need with your accounting, because in SAP the accruals and deferrals obviously are not, I would say, not perfectly done. So this is one thing. Then the posted tax accounts. So if you have to reconcile taxation accounts, you would be able to do it. Or, for example, very commonly used here in Europe, if you want to post automatically changes of stocks. This is for these companies that did not activate the continuous stocks functionality in SAP Business One, that actually are evaluating their stock manually. Here, with the booking visits, you would have been, or you are provided with a tool that even can then measure the changes in stock and then post it to your P&L as a difference, as a delta posting. Good. And the last one, again, the last one, cost center costs and cost unit distribution, is as well one of the examples then in the live demo. Good. Now I want to show you the two very basic masks. You see here, actually just recognize this is a mixture of English and German. Don't worry, the Business One is all in English. But you see here, within the booking visit, I have a set of functions, and you see it is the very same set of queries in my query manager. So meaning, if I add an additional query in my query manager underneath the coresuite booking visit, it will appear directly as a function in your SAP Business One system. And here's the point where I want to jump already into the tool. I don't want to bother you with too much slides, and then give you the one-to-one example. So here we go. Let's just switch to SAP. As you are all familiar with SAP, you see this is SAP 9.0. One message up front. It is working independently with the version. So if you have a former version, or even a version which is in the future, which I don't know of, again, our tools are working fine with all the current versions from SAP V1. So once you have the booking visit installed, and here's where the slide is coming from, you will find it within the main menu Financials. There we go. Here we go. It's if you do not install any other tools, it's going to be found in the bottom of the list. And if you open it, it comes as the print screen was. It comes with a neat window and providing you with the functionalities which you are filling it. And here, just to give you the example, those are the functions which I present today. The cost split and the revenue split, those two functionalities are pre-installed because we find them to be worth, or actually this use case is about deferrals and accruals, actually happen in all the companies we deal with. And the other ones are two functions which we simply added for today's demo. And let me just give you the correlation to it. Here the query manager, you see those functions presented are the same functions which are stored in my query manager. And just for example, if I add an extra query, just here you see, if I save this extra query in my booking visit folder, and I just call it now Canada example. Here we go. You see here in my query manager already, it has been added as my 5th entry, Canada example. There we go. And if I quickly refresh my booking visit window, let's do that together. There we go. My Canada example also is provided as a function. So you see how easily and quickly you can extend the functions. Obviously the query needs to have the correct result set, and then it will work. But you see it's actually pretty easy. And I talk here about your internal IT, but also about the partner. If you want to have extra features that needs to be automated, here you go. Here you can actually see how the connectivity is done, and you see the query manager is an SAP standard functionality, so we're all dealing with SAP standard features. Good. Now we go for the first example, and I prepared a very easy to use cost splitting functionality, and therefore we now quickly go to the function and execute it. When I execute it, you're going to see the result is agreed, which is like a preparation of a posting. Now for that specific function, my result set is empty. This is because I have no costs that needs to be split for the moment. This is one thing we're going to generate afterwards. But just for you to see the handling, if I have a result set which is empty, I cannot do anything wrong. For example, here I see a debit and a credit posting to none of the accounts. If I want to create it, I'm going to get an error message that this posting doesn't have any content, and therefore it can't be posted. So even here the error handling you see is done within SAP standard. So you get your error message on the bottom left as a red arrow message. Good. Well, cost splitting is just the function we called it. You can rename it as accruals. The most common use case is done within your AP invoices. So let's quickly open the one AP invoice. There we go. And now simply add, I don't know, a specific invoice. I have here my supplier, which is invoicing me for some specific services. Let's assume it is an insurance, and my insurance for, I don't know, for April, or let's say from June, because we are in June today, until August. Yeah, so it's June, July and August. And then my GL account, which this insurance is posted. Let's find out in the Canadian database which it is. Insurance, there you go. 634. And let's say we have $600. So now, in insurances is without tax. There we go. And we post it today. Now, when I post it, and you probably know best as an accountant, I have the entire, let's go back to the invoice, I have the entire $600 posted on my posting date, which is the 19th of June. I'm going to recheck it in my journal entry document. Here, see, my P&L account has been debited with a full, with a full 600, only one date, in my case on the 19th of June, and this is probably not what I wanted. You see in the text I was writing, it shall be, or this is my insurance that are due maybe today, but this insurance are for the periods June until August. So it should actually be recognized in the specific months, and it should be recognized only not as a full amount, but it should be recognized partially. So you see, all we talk about is doing it as an accrual. And now within the standard installation of the booking visit, you maybe already noticed, you get two extra date fields. Here we have presented it as in this extra UDF form, and as you probably know, you can also actually drag and pull and drag and drop those two fields to the main form, and those two fields are the ones that we can now specify the period. Let's do that quickly. Maybe I want to see the period for this posting is not just the one date, but it is an entire range. For example, as I now wrote in my text, it is the amount that shall be populated from June to August. Right? So let's quickly update. And this is now how the cost splitting functionality in our standard installation is working. As soon as you enter a period date in your AP invoice, the booking visit will recognize it. Let's go back here to the booking visit. We'll recognize it to be splitted. Yeah. So all we're going to do is we can actually choose our cost splitting again. There we go. And try to execute it again. And now you already found out I do not have any empty results any longer. I do have a complete result set. And what's happening? You see, it recognized this AP invoice to be partially accrued. First, it does the 600 as a debit. So first we will post it out, and we will post it out the day it occurred. Yeah, you see here on the 19th, the 600s are credited, and then on the 1st of June, the 1st of July, and the 1st of August. So in this case, it will be distributed to 3 periods. To these 3 periods, we will partially post it in again. You see, my my P&L account, the insurance account in that case, will be then debited again partially, so 200 in June, 200 in July, 200 in August. Good. So this is what we're going to do now, and all I need to do for that is press on the Create Journal Entry button, which I did now. You see what happened. Again, SAP Standard. You see on the bottom left the green message, which confirms to the user that it was working perfectly. And here also we included some security. It's not possible to post anything twice. You see that my button now is inactive. I cannot press it, so it's impossible to do a posting twice. And also, if I now go and execute my cost split again, my result set is empty. So meaning, again, once your AP invoice is distributed across the multiple periods, it is distributed. So unless there is a new invoice to be included, unless you don't have any new invoice, there will be no result set. Good. Now let's go and check the accounting. So what happened in the background? Let's go and just start to navigate through the journal entries. This has been the original journal entry. Remember, we did together. So we issued this AP invoice. And if you go for the next posting, you see it already in the remarks. We write in the remarks always when it comes from the booking visit. So you see on the top right, this is a booking visit remark. You see now we do the opposite posting. We will post it out to an accrual account, and then for the next 3 invoices, so you see this has happened on the 19th of June, and now next one will be the re-entry, the partial re-entry. So we have now the 1st of June, which we now debit our insurance again partially, and the second one also now for the July posting, and now one for the August posting. So you see here, fairly easy done, included in the standard installation, and you can do that also. I mean, I often do the presentation. You can also do that across the years, especially if you have accruals at the end of the years that actually the invoices are coming, but maybe the invoices belong to the next year, or maybe you have some invoices coming in January but still belong to last year. You can then obviously do it in both directions and across the years. All you need to secure is, if you do it across the years, maybe we do now something for 2014, obviously your posting period 2014 has to be open. Good. Now you do not have to do it one by one, obviously. Just to give you that example, if I have here another invoice, just you see this is the former invoice, and I will do it now from January to the end of the year. I will update, right, and then if you have a second one, we do this as well from January to the end of the year. There we go. You can actually really post your APs throughout the month, throughout the year. You do not have to do the booking visit all the time. You can really collect it, and for the next time, because now you see I have entered 2 new AP invoices. So this time, once I will execute it again, it gives me now, you see, the result set of the 2 invoices. So here I have my invoice 392, and here you see also now I distribute it to a longer period. In my case, I have it now distributed to 12 periods because I put in, we will probably remember, from January to December. Good. And here it's the same amount. Yeah, we can actually divide it by heart. It's the $600 again, but this time it is not divided by 3 months. It's now divided by 12, and obviously it will actually result in 12 postings. Good. And here again, to complete the example, I can now create the journal entries again. Good, this is done. and execute it again. So you see here everything is distributed and nothing has left. Good. I hope this very first example of a very easy but still daily issue is one way to use the booking wizard. Now let's go for a more complex example. Just to complete the other side, obviously you can do the same on your revenue, right? I mean, we have now talked about the AP invoices and the distribution and accruals for the APs, but obviously you see you could also do it, just for the sake of completeness, you could also do it for your invoices. You are having the same, you see here, you're having the same data fields on the AR invoices as well. If you have something like, I don't know, maybe a maintenance fee which is charged at the beginning of a quarter but actually belongs to 3 months within the quarter, you can do it within the same technique, and the booking wizard will then distribute not only the costs but also the revenue. Good. Now, as promised, let's go back to the theory. We get into a more complex example. Giving you a more complex example will lead me to a bit more theory. So here we go. Here we go. This is just for repetition. This is what we did. We did the cost splitting. We have an entire period and we will split it across multiple periods. This is the example which we just did. And now we go to a more complex one, just to give you an idea for what use cases the booking wizard is also capable in using. We're going to do a cost contribution margin report, and therefore we will, using our SAP standard cost centers, and we will collect some costs within the cost centers, and then we will distribute these costs from the one cost centers across multiple different cost centers. Yeah. Not too sure about the English expression. Maybe after the session someone can teach me. In Switzerland we call it cost contribution margin report. So meaning, for example, if I have got management costs which I want to forward it to specific divisions, for example, I want to you know, forward the costs from the administration to my product lines. This is something we then can do again together with the booking wizard. Good. So all we need to do is we have to give a set of accounts. Here in my case I already have prepared this. I have some cost centers which I want to distribute. For example, I have my IT costs, very famous example, which I want then to distribute to my profit centers, and I also have the same for my HR or for my management or my administration. And then how it is done, you see it here in this screenshot of a journal entry. All we do is we will debit the one cost center, and then we will credit again to a so-called distribution rule. And then the effect is amazing. The effect will be a really complete and easy to use cost contribution margin report. There we go. I prepared it here with our cube and the Excel spreadsheet just to make it a bit better visualized. I will now explain. I colored it already with the right colors. I have red my so-called service cost centers. So those cost centers are doing services amongst my company, and I want to distribute those services first to my mid cost centers or my main cost centers, and from there I want then to distribute it on my profit centers. So here I have a triple distribution. So I will distribute it from here to here to here, to really gain the information of profit. Yeah. So at the moment, just for the sake of memory, my consumer goods, you see, I received some revenues. You see it on the left, and I have only minor costs at the moment versus my, for example, IT. In the IT, I have $11,000 costs, which are not distributed already. Or here in the total, see my IT costs at the moment are minus $12,000. But those $12,000, they are not really allocated across the cost centers. So, and because this calculation is pretty difficult to do, and the amount of postings necessary to really illustrate it in SAP Business One is heavily, if you do it manually, again, this is why it is an example for the booking visit. So let's do it. Good. You probably noticed already that we prepared it, and we first do an allocation of service cost centers, which is from red to brown, and then we will do the allocation to the main cost centers, which is from brown to yellow. Good. Let's do that quickly. And here, what you find out now, when I execute it here, you see there is a parameter form, which is asking me for the period I want to look at. If you remember, in the former cost splitting example, there was no parameter asked by the tool. Here, if you include the parameters, and this is also a hint to the partner, to Encaptis, if you include parameters into the query, the parameter form will first ask you to fill it. And now, in my example, I have the 2012. It was the previous year, which I want to reallocate my costs. So I will do it only for the previous year. And then you see we have 4 journal entries to be posted. So we have the occupancy costs and the IT costs. The IT cost is 12,500, just to see you here. Go back to the tool. 12,500. This is exactly, you see here, exactly the figure that I want to distribute. So it does. It really will debit my account and recredit it. And the same for my occupancy costs. The occupancy cost here is 7,500, and again this one is distributed. Good. Let's quickly do it. All I need to do, you know, is pressing the button. And now I have a very Murphy's Law. Something has not been correct. Let's try it again. Maybe it was the same message I tried. Maybe one of my period is locked. 31st January 12th up until the end of the year. Okay, just let me check. Maybe we have blocked to 2012 already and it is not working. There we go. Checking my posting periods in 2012. No, this seems all right. Okay, let's go further then for the other distribution, just to make sure that we make it all correct. Maybe meanwhile, here we go, this worked. Just to make the example complete, what I did now first, I did now the main cost center distribution, and the main cost center distribution is the 9,400, the 10,000 and the 14,000. To see here in this section, these are these other 3 columns which are now distributed to yellow. Let's just do it this way then, and all we need to do to illustrate it again, here as well, if I do it again in my booking visit, you see once the distribution has happened, the result set returns empty, so it's not possible again to post anything twice. So all I need to do quickly now is to reload the cube. See here, just to make the illustration in Excel. For those that do not know what the cube is all about, I'm sure Encaptis is able to do a demo, or you can actually also ask with our representatives in the States. The cube, as you probably already noticed, is simple access to the financial data within Excel. And most of our, I would say, larger customers, they prefer Excel in the reporting for financials to SAP. So let's go. Here we go. So normally the cubes reloads every hour, but since we only have 20 minutes left, I now made the reload process, or triggered the reload process manually, and go back to Excel to see the effect. So you see it also is live. So just remember, if you have your own cube, or if you have big data, a refresh of the cube most likely will take roughly about 1 minute, and then you're going to be pretty much done. Good. I want to wait on that quickly together, so really that you see the real speed before we go then to the last example of the booking visit. There we go. So I actually noticed here that the 3 ones are my main cost centers. So here, just to give you a preview, those costs which have been collected in my brown cost centers are going then to be distributed to my yellow ones. So those are ones to be disappearing as soon as I have my, yes, there we go, my confirmation. Yes, it is complete. Okay, let's go and refresh it here in Excel. You see what happened? My cost centers, my brown ones, are now really down to 0. Sorry for that. And all of them. And what happened with these costs? It actually has been allocated. You see it, for example, here in the management. You see in my allocation management account, I get my debit posting, sorry, my credit posting, and my debit posting are now landed to my to my yellow or my cost profit centers. The same has happened here with my production costs. My production costs are now also distributed across my yellow or my profit centers, and the same with my HR costs. Good. And what is the result out of this booking visit posting? The result is my real net contribution margin of the consumer goods. For example, remember before the distribution, I had more than 20,000 net gain on these consumer goods. Now, once I allocated the costs from one cost center to the other correctly, I see that my real profit for the consumer good is much, much lower. And the same obviously here happened for my service profit center and for my project profit center. Good. And believe me, one thing, if you would have posted this manually, it would have taken you ages. Good. To complete the functionality, I'll quickly explain you how this is done. In the financial sections, all we were using here again is SAP standard. We used the distribution rule, so just giving you the journal entry which has been the result set. So the allocation, for example, of the HR has been debited with my allocation rule 300. And what is the allocation rule 300? Just to give you this, this is my allocation rule 300, and you see how it is done. It has actually distributed the 14,000 with 13% to consumer goods, 59% to services, and 28% to projects. And I did not have to, do the calculation myself. or actually think about how it has been done in SAP. I was simply using the standard functionality, and now those percentages, so you can see that most of the HR costs will land on services. Here we go. Most of the HR, here we go, you see it also here, really did land on services. Good. And technically, what is the background of this allocation functionality? It's again a basic simple query which can be written from us, which can be written from Encaptis. By the way, Encaptis is one of our own, one of our partners, where every single consultant is coresuite certified. We do not have a lot of the partners, but Encaptis is one of them. So you can actually call the entire team, and they're going to be able to help you on that. Good. This has been the two examples of how to use the booking visit. A very easy one, pre-installed with the accruals, and a more complex one with the cost center to cost center distribution, which we added here for the sake of the demo.